Good morning, everybody. Welcome to 7 a.m. Vinyasa. My name is Amanda. I teach up at the North Studio most of the time, but as I've said every week, I think, you might know, I usually practice down at South Hill. So you'll probably see me once we reopen. You'll see me practicing a lot in the South Hill studio, and then I'm up at the North Studio on Sunday mornings and Monday mornings. So I cannot wait to see everybody there once we are ready to open back up. So this morning we're going to do some Vinyasa. I encourage you to put on any music that you would like. Music is such a big part of my yoga practice, so it's like killing me not to always have on my playlists available to you guys. But yeah, feel free to put anything on that feels good to you today or feels right to you today. So we're going to start our practice off this morning laying on our backs in Shavasana. What I will say is if you have a block, go on ahead and grab it. If you don't have a block, that's okay. Some of the things we're going to do this morning, you can just do without a block. It's not a big deal. But remember, Manduka is doing a little deal for us where anything that you guys purchase for your home practice on manduka.com, they will send us 25% of the sales from that. So that, anything helps beautiful right now. So if you can do that'd be great. So anyways, if you do have a block, grab a hold of it right now and lay on back in Shavasana, arms down by your side, and your feet are splaying open, gently closing your eyes. Taking this moment this morning to reflect, starting to think of all the things that you have to be grateful for right now. There's a lot that we're missing. We already have. And everything that we need is at our fingertips. The rest is extra. Frosting on the cupcake. I think some people would say is probably necessary. And I agree. But think about the things, the necessities that you have, and how lucky we are to have the things that we have. Feel that gratitude. As you start to focus on your breath and that inhale in and out through the nose, breathe in, filling your body with gratitude. And then exhale out any tension, any negative energy that may be feeling like it's getting stuck within you. In yoga, we do a breath called the Ujjayi breath. It is in and out through the nose. We take big inhales in, and then we hold, and we constrict the whisper muscles in the back of our throat as we exhale audibly. We take a big inhale in, filling our lungs, our belly in. And whisper muscles constrict as we exhale audibly. The longer that we can keep this breath going through the practice, the more our body learns to naturally calm down when we're dealing with anxiety, fear, when we're outside of the hot room or outside of our home practice. When we breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, in most forms of exercise, it's signaling that fight or flight response to the brain, which is telling us something's happening and we need to get out of it. But when we keep our breath calmly in and out through the nose, we start to feel ourselves calm down and we can feel that anxiety and mood symptoms start to strip away. So keep this breath going in through the nose and out through the nose throughout our practice today. If you feel like you have to gasp for air, maybe back off slightly from what you're doing. Take a child's pose, lay back in Shavasana as you're leaving. Take a moment to reset your breath before diving back in. So now if you have that block handy, we're going to just make sure it's by our side. Again, if you don't have a block, that's okay. You don't need it for what we're going to do. You can still do what we're doing without the block. The block just helps a little bit. But for now, let's get used to moving one breath, one movement as we do in Vinyasa classes. So as you inhale, your arms are going to lift up overhead, falling on the mat behind you. Inhale, filling your body full of air. Exhale, arms down by your side. Inhale, lift those arms up and behind you, filling your body. Exhale, arms down by your side. One more. Inhale, fill your body, lifting your arms. Exhale, arms down by your side. Now let's hug our knees into our chest. We're going to work on some hips here for just a second. So hugging your knees to your chest. Maybe you take that rock side to side, giving yourself that low back massage. And now we're going to plant our heels on the mat, heels close to our glutes, heels about hips width distance. If you have the block, we're going to take it now, placing the block underneath our sacrum. And you can play with the height here, but placing it right underneath our sacrum. And then we're going to lift both heels to the mat. If you don't have a block, that's fine. You can be flat on your back. We're going to lift both heels up to the sky. And then we're going to hug our right knee into our chest. And we're going to take our left heel all the way down slowly to the mat. And it may feel miles away from hitting the mat because of that block. But that heel lands, we feel this amazing stretch on the psoas. And we hold this here for several breaths, allowing the stretch and release. Breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. Making this breath loud, audible, sounding like ocean waves, maybe that Darth Vader voice as you hold and melt in the pose. Hugging that knee even further, maybe if you want extra, up and around the rib cage. Relax the right foot. Keep the left toes popped, flexing that left foot. Two more deep breaths in and out. Breath out. Let's bring our left knee up into our chest, hugging it in. We're going to send that right heel to the sky, hugging the left knee in, and that right heel falls to the ground on an exhale, all the way to the ground. Feeling that stretch all the way up through the psoas as we hug in. Many of us are probably doing a lot of sitting right now. I think we're all doing really good, as good as we can with movement. I know a lot of people in my neighborhood are getting out for walks and things. So good to see. But when we're not at work, we're probably doing a lot more sitting. Muscles tend to tighten up. This can help relax and release those muscles as we hug this left knee in. Keep this left foot relaxed. Our right foot is flexed. Breathing in through the nose. Breathing out through the nose, hugging that left knee. Up and around the rib cage, perhaps up into our armpit as well.
2 more breaths. Inhale in through the nose. Exhale. Breath in. Breath out. And now let's hug this right knee into the chest and send both heels up to the sky, pausing a moment in our waterfall pose, taking a moment in this inversion. This is a great pose to do anytime. You can also take this, if you don't have the block, legs up the wall works here. It's a great easy inversion just to get the blood flowing and recirculating through the body. This can really help relax right before bedtime. We like to do inversions, and some people like to do them in class, like headstands, handstands, and things like that. Those are awesome because they can build energy. But if you're looking for something to relax you right before bedtime, taking this waterfall pose where we're up on the block or legs up the wall can really help to calm you down. A breath in through the nose and a breath out. One more. Exhale. Now we're going to bring our heels to the ground right below our glutes, lifting up to remove the block. We'll probably use this again. Now let's take our right ankle on top of our left knee, and we're going to ground through our left heel here, arms down by our sides as we lift our hips up. Exhaling down. Inhale to rise. Exhale down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Lifting high, slowly releasing down. Feeling those hips off the mat. One vertebra at a time as we release down. We'll take one more. Inhale. Exhale. Excellent. I'll take our arms out to a capital T, and our right foot is going to fall over to the left, taking that twist, gazing over to the right. Perhaps if you want a little bit more, you can take those eagle legs here and really bring those knees down, feeling that twist. Breathing into this twist, inhaling, exhaling, twisting deeper. Maybe bring those knees closer and closer to the ground if they haven't touched the ground already on that exhale. And release. And let's return to center. Both heels on the ground. Our left heel on our left ankle on top of our right knee, arms down by our side, grounding through this right heel as we peel our hips up off the mat. On the inhale, exhale down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Rising on the inhale, releasing on the exhale. Inhale to rise. Exhale down. Peeling those hips off the mat, one vertebra at a time as we release. Rising on the inhale. Exhale, release. Now let's bring our arms out to that capital T again. This time our left foot is going to fall over to the right. Maybe we take those eagle legs and take those knees down to the mat as we twist. What we're just doing there in that sort of funky bridge is we're starting to isolate and build strength in the hips. Full disclosure, I went for physical therapy for some issues with my right knee over the fall, and what he told me was it had nothing to do with my knee, but it's on the core, on the back, on building up the hip strength and things like that. Some of those hip strengtheners can help build just great functional movement and great functional strength throughout, which helps all the joints and helps with everything else. So it always comes back to the core. Let's release back to center. We'll bring both feet to the ground, hugging our knees into our chest. Maybe just take a happy laughing baby, the big toes, and we're grabbing a hold of the sole of our feet, feeling that opening the hips, Something maybe at the end of class and see how we feel. And if we feel a little more open, then we straighten out one leg, taking this ninja baby, and then the other. Then we rock side to side a little bit. And now let's hug our knees into our chest. We're going to do some rock and rolls the length of our spine. Feel free to maybe pause in a boat pose at the top so we can start to build momentum. You want to pause in a boat pose back. Pausing in that boat pose, and then we'll put our feet to the ground, cross your feet, and roll over into your tabletop pose. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Flat back to start. Think about the smiles of the elbows pointing in towards each other, the muscles wrapping around the bone, not locking out the elbows in those elbows. We've got our feet flat on the mat. Inhale as we rise, tailbone and eyes to the sky to that cow pose. Exhale, hammocking the belly into our cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Waking up the spine this morning. Now taking any movements that feel good here. You can keep with the cat-cows for sure. Or maybe you want to sort of round down, to the right heel, hip to the left heel. Shaking your head yes or no. Back to a child's pose. Any intuitive movements that feel good. Move into whatever music perhaps you've got playing in the background. Now let's bring it back to center. And we're going to push back to a child's pose for just a moment. Taking those hips to your heels, reaching those fingertips forward. Using the breath to reach on that inhale, exhaling hips down closer towards those heels. Inhale and reach, exhale hips to your heels. Feeling that stretch, releasing back. Now let's come back, walking back up to our tabletop. Maybe we flip our hand over so we're getting that kind of stretch on the wrist. Those fingertips pointing back towards our knees. Switch our palm back, our fingertips pointing back. And then stretch back, feeling that stretch up the forearms. Hard muscle to figure out how to stretch sometimes. And we can flip those around. And now let's take it back on our knees and bring our knees up where we feel this stretch up the tops of the feet. We're going to bring our hands to heart center. And then release coming back to our tabletops. We'll pop those toes and think back with the toes popped, feeling the stretch of the arches perhaps. Inhaling up to a tabletop with the toes popped, exhaling back. Maybe you can even lift those knees a little bit. Now coming back to our tabletop, pushing back to our downward facing dog, first one of the morning perhaps. You can take this opportunity to walk that dog, bending one knee and the other. Shake your head yes, shake your head no. Let's lift our right heel to the sky, bending your knee and opening up your hip, taking some hip circles. Maybe some ankle circles as well. We'll go one way with the ankle and then the other way as well. Making those circles as big or as small as you would like. And now let's bring this right foot forward, taking that fallen star. So right foot extending out, arm reaching up, really stretching. Lift that right leg. And then let's bring it all back to that three-legged dog and bring it down. Left heel rises, bend the knee, opening up the hip, making those hip and ankle circles one way and then the other. And then we're going to bring that left foot, threading it through, extending it out, opening up, reaching that right arm up, taking it thumb into the other. Maybe we lift that right leg. And then bring it back down to that three-legged dog. Back to our downward facing dog. Then we're going to take a breath in and a breath out. Inhale. Exhale. Filling up. Empty. Feet to your hands. Meeting in that forward fold at the top of your mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Rising up on the inhale, extended mountain pose. Hands coming to heart center, gently closing your eyes and taking a moment to set an intention for your practice today. What do you want to usher in? What do you want to usher out? Do you want to build peace, serenity, patience, gratitude? Let out negativity, anxiety, tension. As you go through your practice today, coming back to those intentions. Now let's reach our arms up overhead, look up, reach up. Exhale, fingertips down towards the mat for that forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Let's step back to our high plank position, modifying to our knees as possible. And then we're going to lower all the way down to our bellies. Setting up for our cobra. Hands directly under our shoulders. Chin on the mat. Inhale, lifting, waking up the spine a little bit, little to no weight in the hands. Exhale down. And now inhale to rise. Exhale down. Inhale, a little bit more weight in the hands, lifting a little higher in the chest. Exhale down. And now let's all take a upward facing dog. Inhale, come up. And belly button into spine as we push back to our downward facing dog. We take a breath in and a breath out. Inhale. Exhale. Filling up. Empty. Walk, step, or jump. Feet to your hands. Halfway lift. Inhale. Exhale. Fold forward. Reaching up, extended mountain pose. Let's take a back bend, cactus your arms, look back, go back. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold forward, reaching for those toes. Halfway lift, inhale. Stepping back, jumping back. Lowering down through chaturanga perhaps. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breath in through the nose. Breath out through the nose. Inhale. Exhale, fill up, empty, walk, step, or jump, feet to your hands. Halfway lift, inhale, exhale, fold, rising up on the inhale, reaching up, jellyfish your arms this time, look back, go back, exhale, folding forward, halfway lift, step back, jump back. Moving through your vinyasa, meeting a downward facing dog is the goal, using the breath to get you there. Belly button in the spine as you push back to your downward facing dog, and we take a breath in and a breath out. Inhale, exhale, big breath in, release, walk, step, or jump, your hands. Inhale, rise, mountain pose. Let's take our hands to our sacrum, look back, go back, taking this back bend. Exhale, folding forward, reaching for those toes. Halfway lift, inhale. Stepping back, jumping back, moving to vinyasa. Lowering all the way down on the exhale. Inhaling to rise. Downward facing dog on the exhale. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, exhale, filling up, empty. Walk, step, or jump, feet to your hands, meeting in that forward fold. Halfway lift, fold. Toes together to touch, heels slightly apart, and we're going to sink into our chair pose, Utkatasana. Hips sinking, belly button into spine. Tailbone descends, pelvis lifts, arms up overhead. Gazing up at those fingertips, perhaps. Weight in the heels, toes lifting up off the ground. Sinking into this chair. Holding here for several breaths. As we inhale, maybe we're reaching. As we exhale, maybe we're sinking. Inhale, exhale. Breath in and fold. Halfway lift. Step back, jump back, moving through your vinyasa, meeting in your downward facing dog. From our downward facing dog, we're going to lift our right heel to the sky, stepping it forward, big step forward for our warrior one. We've got a 90-degree bend in our right knee. Our left heel is going down at a 45-degree angle. We've got our hips pointing towards the front of our mat, arms up overhead. Sinking in to this warrior one, holding here for a few breaths. Gazing up at our hands, perhaps. Maybe we're bringing the palms of our hands together. Inhale, sink into that right knee. Exhale, reach. Inhale. Exhale, folding forward, moving through our vinyasa, stepping back. Maybe we're lifting a leg this time as we lower into our chaturanga. Rising on the inhale, downward facing dog. On the exhale, our left foot rises, swinging it forward, warrior one on the left. Left knee at that 90-degree angle, knee rocking over towards the baby side toe. I don't know what that means, baby side toe, towards the baby toe. I always say that. Looking down and just peeking out, seeing that big toe peeking out. Our hips forward, arms up overhead. Maybe the palms of our hands together as we gaze up. Bringing that right hip forward, left hip back. Inhale up, exhale. And to the mat, moving through your vinyasa, meeting in that downward facing dog, however you want to get here. Breath in, breath out. Inhale, exhale. Filling up your lungs, and then emptying. And now walk, step, or jump, feet to your hands. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Our toes are together to touch. Our heels are slightly apart. And we're rising and sinking into our Utkatasana chair pose. This time, we're going to take our chest to thigh. So inhale up. Exhale, take that chest to thigh. Arms behind you. Inhale, rise. Exhale, flowing through this chair. Exhale, chest to thigh. Inhale, lift. Exhale, chest to thigh. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold, reaching for those toes. Halfway lift. Inhale. Step back, jump back, moving through your vinyasa. Meeting in your downward facing dog, however you would like to get there. Once we're in our downward facing dog, we're taking that right foot high and bringing it forward. Warrior one. Big step forward, big reach up. Arms up overhead, gazing up. One breath this time, inhale, reach. Exhale, fold forward, moving through your vinyasa. Maybe lifting that leg, maybe adding a chaturanga push-up. Whatever you need to do to get to your downward facing dog. And as soon as we're in our downward facing dog, that left leg rises and we swing it forward for warrior one on the left. Big step forward, big reach up on the inhale. Reaching up, exhale to the mat. Stepping back, Moving through your vinyasa. Maybe we lift that leg as we lower down. Inhale to rise. Exhale, downward facing dog, and we take a breath in and a breath out. Inhale, fill the lungs. Exhale, big breath in. Release. Feet to your hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Rising into our Utkatasana, those toes together to touch, heels slightly apart. Inhale, rise up. Hands coming to heart center, preparing for our twist. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Taking this left elbow to the right knee, we take that twist. Enjoying this twist here, making sure our knees are still in line. We're twisting from the torso, not the hips, to get the knees way out of whack. We're enjoying this twist here. Option for your side crow now, if you would like to play with that this morning, and I encourage you to do so, because why not? What else are we going to do? So we're making these chaturanga arms with arms. We're sort of make this shelf with our elbows, our right hip on our right elbow, our right knee on our left elbow, just leaning forward and rising. And also, if we wanted to take this to that EPK 1, good. And then bringing it back, meeting in that twisted chair, and exhale, fold forward, taking these peace fingers to your big toes, pulling your head down, really feeling that stretch up the backs of the legs. This is a moment to take a breath, but it's also a dynamic stretch where you're pulling your head down towards the mat, really feeling that stretch up the backs of the legs. Maybe play with a bend in your knees as well to see if you can get a stretch in your back as well. And now releasing, inhale to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Our toes are coming together to touch. Heels slightly apart as we rise into our chair pose again. Hands coming to heart center. Elbow to left knee this time as we inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, twist. If we're enjoying this twist and we want to stay here, we're working on pulling this left shoulder back and away to get our hands back towards our heart center. So we're inhale, lengthening the spine, exhale, twisting deeper. If you'd like to try your side crow on this side, go for it. Making that chaturanga shelf with your elbows, that left hip on the left elbow, left knee on the right elbow as we rise up. And bringing it down. Meaning in that twist. And then exhale, folding forward, taking our gorilla pose, stepping on our hands, tickling our wrist creases with our toes, bending those elbows back towards our shins, pulling that head down, really feeling that stretch up the backs of the legs into the lower back. Taking a moment to breathe. And now let's release those hands, halfway lift, inhale, exhale, fold, rising up, extended mountain pose. Let's take our right arm under our left, setting up for our eagle pose. We're going to take this right leg over. One day, someday goal is to get this foot wrapped around the calf. That may or may not happen today. And if this is too much on your shoulders, you can take those genie arms or even a butterfly hug. Take your option for your eagle, settle in, making sure the core is tight here because this is where we hold the pose. We're not holding it with our joints, we're holding with our core. That hip strengtheners that we were doing in the beginning, this is where that comes into play. So our tailbone tucks as our pelvis lifts, and we sink into that standing leg, and we breathe.
And release. Arms up overhead. Let's take that left arm under, our left leg over, working on getting that toe wrapped around the calf. Taking your option, you may need to kickstand with that left foot as you're working on balance. Plugging in, breathing. And now let's release out of it. Very good. Let's take one more eagle. We're going to add on to it this time. Right arm under, right leg over, sinking in to that standing leg. We have our elbows up to our shoulder height. Inhale, and now exhale, elbows to knees. Let's unravel that top leg, sending it back. We're in our bound warrior 3, thinking about our hips pointing down towards the ground. So this right hip is rolling down. We want our hips level. Then we're going to open up our hands, Vinyasa airplane. And then our right foot is going to meet the left, and we're going to meet in a forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale as we rise back up to our extended mountain pose. Now we're going to take our left arm under, left leg over, sinking into a standing leg. Inhale. Exhale, taking our elbows to our knees. Unraveling that top leg, sitting that back for our bound warrior 3. Working on getting our hips level, feeling this left hip spin down or rotate down. And now, opening up our arms, Vinyasa airplane. And then that left foot meets the right, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Rising up on the inhale, extended mountain pose. And then coming into our Tadasana. Beautiful. From our Tadasana, let's take a breath in and a breath out. On your next inhale, we're going to lift our right knee, feeling the strength building in our left leg as we stabilize in that left leg, not locking the knee joint, feeling the muscles wrap around the bones. Let's take our right hand to our right knee, left hand to our hip. Inhaling, belly button into spine. Hanging out right here. This is enough as we're building strength, building stability, working on balance. If you want to add in a little bit of flexibility, you can open up the hip. Maybe that left hand comes off the left hip and you are looking over to the left. Maybe if you want a little bit more, you can reach down, grab a hold of the big toe, extending that leg out, and then opening up. Again, left hand off left hip, gazing over. Picking your option today, being mindful about where you are at today. Not rushing forward with anything that you're not quite ready for. And now let's bring it back to center. Extend that leg out and bring it down. Nice. We're going to do the same thing, just opposite side. So this time we're grounding into our right foot. Our left knee rises, grabbing a hold of that left knee, hanging out right here. This is enough to build balance, to build stability, to work on keeping that pelvis lifted, that tailbone descending, that core, that mula bandha tight here. I'm gonna hang out right here. If you want a little bit more, take full expression of this pose, whatever that means for you this morning. Opening up, extending that foot out. Gazing over to the right this time.
let's bring it back to center. Extend that left foot out just for a few breaths, or a breath, I guess. And down. Beautiful. Coming into our tree pose. Grounding down through the left foot. Last week, you have a block that you're working with. You can work on building even more balance if you want to try to stand on the block. If not, just regular tree is fine here. Wherever you are, bringing this right foot where it's comfortable. Maybe it's kickstanding, maybe it's up on the calf, maybe we're up on the thigh. Hands starting at heart center just to begin with. Thinking about that core lock again. Shoulder blades out of the ears, shoulder blades back and down. Proud chest. As you feel that toggle and wobble, it's just building strength. Thinking about the muscles wrapping around the bones in to that left knee joint. And breathing. Maybe we take our hands somewhere new today. Bring the arms up. Maybe we clasp our palms and send our palms to the sky. Taking reverse prayer hands behind us. Whatever option feels good for you right now. Maybe palms to the sky, requesting some energy and good vibes from the universe. And then bringing our hands back to heart center and releasing down. Opposite side. If you want to try the block on this side, go for it, or keep yourself grounded on the ground, either way. Just an extra way to work on some balance and a fun way to use the block. Again, picking where your tree feels comfortable on this side, being mindful that it might be different one side the other. We can kickstand right here. We can bring our foot up onto our calf or up onto our thigh. Hands starting in heart center. Breathing. Belly button in. Pelvis lifting, tailbone descends. As you're feeling stable, maybe we take those arms somewhere new. Any option on this side. The same thing you did on the side before. Or you can try something new. Either way, making sure we are breathing. Maybe we close our eyes and test our balance. And bring it down. Especially standing on the block, that's where I always move it. Excellent, we're at the top of our mat. Arms up overhead, exhale, fold forward, halfway lift, inhale, step back to a high plank position. From our high plank position, we're going to plant our right hand and open up to that side plank. Options to take it down to a knee. Maybe we want to amp it up and lift a leg. Maybe you're not done with tree yet. You want to try your tree legs. Forearm. Anyway, take your side plank, holding in here. And now let's bring it back to our high plank. Opposite side, planting the left, rising up, taking your option for your side plank here. And now let's bring it down back to high plank. Hips high for our downward facing dog. We're going to bring our right heel to the sky, bring the right foot forward. We're going to come down onto our knee. Again, we're not in the super comfy the hot room with the padded floors, with the yoga mat floors. So if this is not comfortable on your knee, if you're on hardwoods or something like that, you can always fold up your mat a little bit, giving yourself a little cushion for your knee. But we're going to be in this low lunge, down on our knee. And we're going to set up for our lizard pose. So if you have a block, grab a hold of it now. We have our hands inside of our right foot, and we are feeling this stretch in our lizard. If this is good enough, hang out here. If you want a little bit more, you could come down, forearms on your block. And if you want a little bit more, we can come forearms all the way down to the mat. You want to think about hugging your right knee and your right shoulder in together as you release into this. And we'll hold this hip opener for a few breaths. Inhaling into the nose, exhaling, breath in, breath out, filling up, empty. Let's walk our hands up. And now we're going to work on our half splits. If full splits is in your practice, absolutely take it right now. You can also use the block with your full splits, sort of place your block underneath you as you work on that full split. But I'm going to flow through some half splits. So right hand on the outside of your right foot. As you inhale, leaning forward, feeling that stretch in the on the left leg. And then exhaling back. Keep your toes on the mat this time. Inhale forward. Exhale back, popping the toes. Inhale forward. Exhale, whichever you preferred with your toes here. Inhale forward. Exhale back. And now coming forward, planting this left hand, right arm rises, taking that twist. Maybe we reach back, grab a hold of that cattail. And release. And then popping these toes, we're going to send this right foot back to that three-legged dog. And bring that right foot down. Left foot rises this time. And then we're going to swing this forward, coming into our lizard on the left. Our right knee is down. You could also, if you do like your lizard with this right knee popped, you absolutely can do that. We're going to bring both hands inside of the left foot this time. Remember, we're hugging that left shoulder and left knee together. And then lowering down, taking your lizard, using the block perhaps. Being mindful that one side might be more open or feel better than the other, so we might be different on each side. Every time we do yoga, we're working on building that symmetry. Maybe you want a little bit more and you come down to your forearms, and we're going to breathe here, feeling this hip opening. Trying to keep that breath in and out through the nose, keeping that ujjayi breath strong as we breathe and release and melt into this lizard. And now we'll walk those hands up, planting the right hand this time. Left arm rises, taking that twist, gazing up at the left hand, popping those toes, perhaps grabbing a hold of that cattail, gazing behind you, feeling all of that stretch and goodness and twistiness. And now releasing, working on our half splits here. Again, if full splits is in your practice, or if you want to work with full splits with the block, absolutely. But if you are hanging out with me, we will take our hands on the outside of our left foot. We're going to lean forward as we inhale, exhale, keeping the left toes on the mat, pushing back, inhale, forward. Exhale, we'll pop the toes this time. Inhale, forward. Exhale, yogi's choice with those toes. Inhale, forward. Exhale. Coming forward, and now popping that right toe, sending this right knee up, and the left foot up to that three-legged dog, back to our downward facing dog. Breath in, breath out, inhale, exhale, filling your lungs, empty, rolling out to that high plank position, and exhaling as you lower all the way down to your bellies, setting up for our belly down postures, our locust and our floor bow. On our bellies, Our arms are down by our side, palms on the mat. Toes together to touch. If your low back is complaining to you this morning, which is totally fine and happens, you can keep your feet about hips width distance. But if not, keep your toes together to touch. Chin on the mat. Let's take a good cleansing breath in through the nose, exhale it out through the nose. Now on your next inhale, we're going to lift up. Everything lifts up off the mat. Those fingertips pointing back towards the back of the mat, lifting off the mat, chin off the mat, thighs, knees, shins, feet off the mat, lifting up, hugging in, breathing the whole time, and exhaling down. We'll take a cleansing breath in and a cleansing breath out. Focus number 2, arms on the mat, palms on the mat, chin on the mat. Toes together to touch if that's good on your low back. On your next inhale, lifting up, those thighs spinning in towards each other, belly button into spine. This is a core pose if anything. Hugging that core in, holding up tight, and don't hold your breath. Really lift and exhale down. Beautiful. Breath in, breath out. We've got 2 floor bows in us today. If you would prefer to grab one foot at a time, go for that now. Pick your foot that you want to start with. I suggest right, just because that's what we always do. Reach back. Grab a hold of what is comfortable for you today. If you're grabbing a hold of 1 foot or 2, we're grabbing right below the toes, that shoelace line, yes? Grabbing a hold of those toes. On your inhale, lifting up, making that gorgeous teardrop shape, coming into the soft part of your belly, really lifting those toes up overhead, higher and higher and higher, and release down. Take a cleansing breath in and a cleansing breath out. Floor bow number 2. Grabbing a hold of what you feel comfortable with today. Grab a hold of those toes, lifting up, making that teardrop shape, really hugging everything in, holding up, breathing still, inhaling and exhaling in this pose as we lift, 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 and release. Windshield wiper those feet back and forth, releasing that low back. Let's roll over onto our backs, setting up for our bridge pose. We've been using blocks all morning, so if you have a block and you want to take a restorative bridge here, absolutely. Place the block underneath your sacrum. Relaxing back over it. And you can also play with the height of that block. You can lift it up higher. Maybe you stretch those legs out, just relaxing over that block. If you are wanting a regular bridge today, we could also place that block between your knees, and this will help stabilize the knees so they don't bow out or in too much as you lift. Taking your option today, inhale. If you're in that restorative bridge, just hang out there, and you're good. If you're using a block between your knees or you're not using a block at all, you're doing regular bridge. Grounding down through your heel. Lips up. Maybe we're clasping our hands underneath us, coming up onto our shoulders, really lifting up, really lifting high. Higher than we think we can. And releasing down, taking a breath in. And your breath out. We're going to do one more. Restorative bridges, just stay there, enjoy, breathe, love this moment. Regular bridge or wheel. If wheel is in your practice, bring it up. You can come into it now. Whatever your option is, ground down to rise up. Lifting those hips up high. Maybe we're coming up on a toe, 2 toes. Maybe we're lifting a leg. Maybe we're lifting the other. Whatever we're doing, really ground down and lift up and release down. Let's hug those knees in your chest. Restorative bridgers, remove that block, hug your knees in. Rock and roll side to side. Giving yourself that low back massage. And then let's take it to a Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet together. Knees splay open. One hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, gently closing your eyes and breathing. Taking a moment of gratitude, thanking yourself for the amazing things your body can do. Only a few things left this morning. Let's hug our knees into our chest, rock and rolling the length of our spine. Again, we can pause in that boat pose and then rolling forward. One last hip opener, and it's a mama. We're going to take our frog pose. A block can be helpful in this pose, just for, I'm going to need to move my candles here. We are going to bring our knees out wide and we're popping our toes, our feet right behind our knees, and then rolling forward, leaning forward. The block can help, as you may want to hold your block between your hands and then resting your forehead. But either way, if you don't have the block, that's fine. You can clasp your hands, maybe rest your forehead there, pushing back. Think about using your arms here as an anchor and then pushing your hips back further, pushing your hips back down towards your heels like you're in child's pose. Feeling that hip opening magic. We'll call it magic. It's all about perception, right? And we hold frog for a few breaths, more than a few. The longer we hold these hip openers, the more open we get. So breathing into this. Hip openers can also bring up a lot of stress. When we're in these hip openers, we tend to have time to think about things. Maybe things we've been trying to avoid. But no need for stress right now. We're doing everything we can to help keep ourselves de-stressed. Right? And when we're in this frog pose and we're holding it, we're breathing in and out through the nose, just like we do through the rest of the practice. Keep that breath going in through the nose. Audible exhale. Relaxing, melting. Let's take 2 more big breaths in. Breath out. Filling up. Empty. And now let's release out of this frog. The best way to do that is just to walk forward and release your legs back. Best thing about a home practice, nobody can see your awkward exit out of frog pose because it always is awkward, no matter what. All right, coming to the end here. Let's send our legs out long. Seated forward fold. We'll take our arms up overhead, identify those peace fingers, reaching forward, grabbing a hold of those toes, pulling your forehead down towards your toes, your eyebrows down towards your toes. Keeping that back as flat as you can as you pull, feeling the stretch of the backs of the legs all the way up to the back. Pulling down. And let's release, rolling onto our backs. Let's take that happy laughing baby. See if we notice any more opening from when we did this in the beginning of class. I actually am, which is cool. Maybe not a whole lot, maybe a little bit, maybe a whole lot. We did a lot of work with hips today, so hopefully we're feeling more open and ready to tackle our day. Now let's hug those knees into the chest. Big hug in, bringing your forehead up to your knees. Really tensing up all of your muscles, every single muscle in your body before we relax out, opening up into that Shavasana. Arms down by your side. Gently closing your eyes. Taking as much time as you need here in your Shavasana. This is your moment. You've made it. You deserve it. Hang out. Enjoy this, knowing that everything you need is at your fingertips. And even though amazing things are coming to us all, we have everything here that we need. So until next time, the yogi, the teacher, the student in me
sees and recognizes the yogi teacher and student in every one of you. Namaste.